So what is internal family systems? Internal family systems is a therapeutic approach that views the mind as composed of different parts, each with its own perspective, emotions, and roles. In the context of psychosis, IFS helps individuals understand and integrate these parts, fostering self-leadership and reducing internal conflict, which can depolarize extreme mental states. The thing that was so striking to me when I read this stuff, when I learned about the history of systemic family therapy, was that there was like these really brilliant ideas that ended up being cast aside. Doesn't even really do it. It's more like crushed. So in some ways I see it as kind of like a time capsule. Like in some ways we can go back to the past and be like, what were they doing back there then before the rise of the biopsychiatric model and neoliberalism like decimated the way that we think about humans? And maybe we can make some changes in the future. So systems thinking recognizes the importance of focusing on the pattern of relationships within a system rather than the substance of its parts. So you can look at an individual, you can have a family, you can have one person in a family who's sick, who has a diagnosed with a psychotic disorder, and say, whoa, that person has a biological brain disease. Let's put them on let's give them a monthly injection to make sure that they don't get out of control and upset everyone. Or you could look at the family system and say, huh, is there things happening in this family system that are exacerbating what this person is going through? And furthermore, are there ways that what this person is doing in their psychotic process that's actually trying to heal what's happening, rather than it just thinking about it as pathology? Two key understandings that are going to be useful for us today and maybe useful for your whole life. So here we have this guy, Murray Bowen, this idea of differentiation of self. Bowen's concept of emotional differentiation is the ability to separate one's own feelings and thoughts from those of family members. He believed that higher differentiation leads to healthier relationships, as individuals can remain connected to their families without being overwhelmed by emotional reactivity. Now, Salvador Minuchin. So this guy's like fascinating to me. Like, in 2024, there's a lot of dialogue. People talk about boundaries a lot. We talk about the importance of having healthy boundaries. Well, this was the dude that started talking about boundaries. In his structural family therapy model, it emphasized the importance of family hierarchies and boundaries. Healthy family hierarchies, where parents take leadership roles, help resolve issues, while clear boundaries prevent family members from becoming enmeshed. So he also was understanding this thing about mental illness that's like, yeah, maybe it's not just about the individual, it's about the dynamics with people and having not only clear boundaries, but hierarchies, like that actually, when it comes down to it, someone in a family wants to know where they stand in a hierarchy, and they actually want strong, healthy leadership. So we'll come back to that when we're talking about IFS, because that's like actually like a key principle. Okay, there's this really key idea. So if there's like, if you're taking notes, or if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I really want to learn the IFS model, I want to understand the basics of the IFS model so that it seems like it's going to be really helpful. This concept of unblending is incredibly important and incredibly basic to it. And so we talk about blending. Blending is when the feelings and beliefs of one part become entangled with another part, or the self. When blended parts become extreme, their reactivity obscures self-energy and thwarts the healing process. Now, I don't know if you heard it in there when I said it, but does that not sound a little bit like Murray Bowen talking about differentiation of self in a family? Does that not sound like Salvador Minuchin talking about like the importance of not being blended? Except what we're talking about is inside ourselves. We're talking about these parts. You don't know what you're thinking. You don't know what you're feeling because your parts are all blended together. Unblending is a core IFS skill that helps to differentiate parts from each other and from the self. Once a part is able to unblend, continue working through a client's self. Ultimately, parts control how much they blend or unblend. So in my role, when I'm playing the role of an IFS therapist, a lot of what I'm doing is helping people build relationships to their parts, getting to know their parts, listening to what their parts are saying. And in order to do that, they have to be able to unblend from their part. They have to be ordered. They're like, yeah, I feel, this anger at something happened. I just feel really angry. Wait, what is it? What is it? Oh, it turns out like, oh, I have this part that's angry about something that just happened, but actually underneath that, there's this younger part that's still pissed off about something that happened a really long time ago.